Welcome to the Strap and Link podcast, where we cover brands from their inception to their latest release.
It's the Montress Tudor.
Like I said, better movement, spring drive potentially, Rolex Oyster Perpetual.
There's Super Ocean here. Now you see this kind of renaissance of Tudor. Finally, in 2016, they achieved the spring drive with an 8-day power. The podcast for watch lovers by watch lovers. New episodes every first and third Monday of the month.
Cool. Welcome back, everyone, to the Strap and Link podcast. This is Brett.
And I'm David.
What's up, buddy? How's your fourth?
It was making it, man. It was good. We didn't really go out of town much, so we just went to the lake and hung out by the pool. So pretty quick. Started working. I was back in Atlanta working the next day.
Well, that doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, well, I got to go over to Mayor's over in Alpharetta, so it was worth it. You know, good trip. A few things was bought and purchased, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, at a later episode. But yeah, it was a pretty good week.
Nice. Might even talk about that today. We'll see.
Oh, all right.
Well, very quickly, wanted to run through today's episode, what we're going to talk about for everyone out there. This is not going to be a brand episode, nor is it going to be a guest episode. But with all the new watches that have come out in the last really, we're recording this on Friday, July the 7th. So really like in the past 2 weeks, this episode will come out in like 9 days. So yeah, end of June, early July, a lot of watches, a lot of MoonSwatches. Yeah. We're going to get into some of that. Of course, the Omega, just the 75th anniversary of the Seamaster collection. There's been some really, really cool releases there. A couple of Oris Divers. We have a couple of new watches to just touch on and discuss today. So we're just going to kind of run down some of that. Yeah, just kind of new releases and newsworthy events and all that good stuff. So with that being said, we do have a giveaway still going on for just a few days. This episode will come out after the giveaway. So if you're listening right now, which that's not possible,
hope you won.
Go enter. Yes. And yes, we will be announcing that. If we haven't already, we'll be soon. One last thing, just a quick reminder that we do have a YouTube channel up now. So at Strap and Link on YouTube, we're going to be doing, again, full length audio only episodes with the addition of some short video clips. So you can actually see us on screen if that's more of your style. And also if more bite-sized content is for you, head on over to the Strap and Link YouTube channel, again, at Strap and Link. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Where would you like to start, David? I know we listed a few things. Ooh. Anything in particular that you'd like to kick off with?
I think let's start with, well, we're going to talk about Omega twice, so let's go ahead and knock out the Oris. Let's talk about Oris here and their new cotton candy collection that just came out. The Divers 65 second version. Couple years, 2-3 years ago, the bronze came out. I know it was an instant hit. So they kind of came out with a different version in the stainless steel. Still kind of to me looks like a weathered steel, which I like. But you know, the only complaint about the last one, which I thought really made it stand apart and probably was one of the reasons why it was so popular, was it was in bronze. And, you know, some people are like, well, I wish they offered this in the steel version as well. So now they do. I think it's a great look. You know, it's still running on the Oris 733 Soletta movement. So, you know, you're still getting that lower base movement from Oris as you would in anything else in that price point. Which I still think is fine to keep the price down, because you're really more buying this watch for aesthetics than anything. Yeah. But I mean, I think it's a good watch. Tell me, when I see this new one, especially on pictures, maybe not in person, but when I see this, just with the bezel and the way the bracelet looks, it gives off, not the dial, but the bracelet and bezel gives off almost like Yachtmaster vibes.
Yeah, the bezel with that kind of, I don't know how to put that into words. It's very silvery and very industrious looking bezel, but it's not as refined as the Yachtmaster bezel. The Yachtmaster,
obviously a little bit cheaper.
Rolex does it in a way that it looks industrious, but it looks really, really elevated. Oris looks industrious and it looks very tool watchy, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, I would like to see that too in a watch of this price point more so than a more refined piece. I think I think if they had taken that approach, if they really, really tried to make it look like it cost twice as much as what it did, they might be in the area of kind of gimmicky. But I think this works really well. And it's also, I think if you recall the bronze editions of these, those look very tooly as well, right? Because they're bronze, and bronze has got a really awesome way that it patinas and all that good stuff. So I think they stayed in line with the design aesthetic there, and that I do like.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love the look of a bronze watch, especially. I mean, my favorite is the Tudor Black Bay bronze, Black Bay 58 bronze.
That's nice, yeah.
Which I think they have a little bit of alloy in that one to help it from wearing as much as this one did. I know that was a complaint from some people, as it would mark very easily with the whatever, it was just made out of pure bronze.
Yeah.
But that being said, I do love the look of it. I like they're sticking with the pastel colors, the mint green, the blue, the pink. What's your favorite color of these three? What would you buy if you had to get one?
I would get the blue, and I have to admit, I don't know, I'm getting a little weary of the pastel color dials, and I would go blue. I think it's a unique blue. It's very royal, not so much navy. You see navy on most blues, most mainstream type, watches that aren't going to be like a one-off edition, which I don't really want to call this a one-off edition, but it also kind of is. So I think that they executed the blue well. Pink, everyone probably knows that listens here. I have a pink Monta Noble, so I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of the mint as well, but yeah, I just feel like this pastel thing has just run its course. I mean, Rolex started this in 2020. What like, do you recall, was it Rolex that kind of started that, or did they follow in
I
always
thought it was the 5711, the Tiffany,
the Tiffany collab.
Yeah, and then obviously that just blew up everywhere, and Rolex followed suit, or not followed suit, but it made the Rolex value shoot up of theirs.
That's right. So they I was trying to remember the timeline of events there. So the 57, the Nautilus, the Tiffany dial Nautilus came out, and that blew up, of course, as one would expect, which then led to that sort of Tiffany blue Rolex OP blowing up.
Yeah.
And I guess those two events, because Rolex had the same year, because they didn't release the Tiffany color on its own. They released it with green, yellow,
red,
orange,
green,
red. A lot of different colors, which now 2023, fast forward, that's the balloon or the celebration OP, right? All those colors. But yeah, I guess those two events, those two watches, it just kicked off this like frenzy. I mean, and Oris has done it, and Monta has done it. I mean, everyone has done it. And I think there's a place for these watches like in your collection. I mean, obviously I own one, but at some point it's just like, I mean, how many times are we just going to re-release the same watch with a different dial, just for the sake of like driving up the hype? And I know that these companies, they don't benefit from like aftermarket resale value, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would love to talk to someone with some more insight in the industry, like an AD, or if anyone works for a watch company out there that wants to hit us up. I would love to know more about this. Like, what's the approach from the business side? Is it just a quick and easy cash grab that you can replicate the same watches that you've had in your collection for X number of years or months, and you just go to your manufacturer and you slap a different lacquer colored pastel dial on it, and boom, now you can drop 2,000 watches in the middle of the summer and sell them in a week? Like, is that it?
Probably. I mean, seems what's happening. So, I mean, why wouldn't you do it if it's an easy cash grab? Yeah,
and I'm not going to say that, like, that's dumb. I'm not going to say, like, I wouldn't do that. I just, as just a consumer, like, I feel like I should reset the floor and not be like a grumpy old man. As a consumer, I'm just kind of growing tired of it. I think it's a little unoriginal. Kind of like Grand Seiko with like all of their like limited edition. It's like, how many limited editions can you have,
Yeah.
And it makes it hard to attain those. And the price does go, well, the price doesn't go up, but they're harder to get, they'll make 100 pieces, but they'll debut it at Watches and One. It's like, why are you debuting it? Like, no one can get it.
Yeah.
And for these, it's like, Cool. Some more pastel dials. I've seen those on 18 different brands before.
Yeah, there's only a very few select number of brands that make those pastel dials that I would even want. Once you get down to Oris or anything like that, I'm not sure if I would purchase this unless you're just an Oris groupie. Just like I said, it's just getting tired.
Yeah.
But
I think the bronze is awesome, like you said.
Fast forward a few years, I think there'll be a new trend, and everybody will be doing that. But it's just you need to hop on that trend early, and I mean, I think you definitely see a slowdown of the pastel colors a little bit. There's still some mint greens out there and things like that, but the blue, the baby, Tiffany blue, whatever, baby blue is not out there as much anymore, on these bigger brands.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would agree. There is a slowdown, but it's not gone away. I mean, the slowdown is really just the slowdown is really just the decline from like the craze that kicked it all off. It's when COVID unemployment went back up, it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense because so many people lost their jobs. So you would expect that. So I would expect to see the number of people making these drop down. But yeah, it's just my 2 cents on it. The bronze watches I think are truly unique from Oris, and I would love one of those in my collection. I think that's a really interesting conversation starter. And like I said, I've also purchased at full retail, I should add. I didn't go aftermarket and spend less or more, but at full retail, bought one of these from another brand. A pastel colored dial is what I'm talking about. And so again, I think there's a place for them in your collection. But again, I just think that, I mean, how many of us are going to go get more than one of those,
Yeah.
Versus like a dive watch or anything else, or maybe like your favorite, like if a Speedy is your favorite watch or a Rolex Submariner is your favorite watch, you might have 2 or 3 of those from different decades, different styles. But like, how many people are just going to be gobbling up like, oh, I got mint green over here and I got lime green on this one, and then I got baby blue over here, and then I got royal blue. I mean, I don't think people are doing that. So just as a consumer, but yeah, just my 2 bits. I saw it and I was like, God, another one.
Yeah, still coming in on the back end. Last year of this, hopefully, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, shifting gears to the swatches. Brett, you wanna kick this off? Kind of what this is, the whole. I'm not sure how many of you guys, because I really didn't know about it, but so they, Brett, you know this as well, but they do these monthly boxes of Mission to the Moon boxes that come out on the full moon of every month, which is kind of different. I never even knew this was a thing until doing this research, and the latest one is the strawberry moon, which I'm like, man, they're getting kind of desperate out there figuring out what these moons are.
It's getting weird.
Yeah, but
it's
I mean,
weird, folks.
Yeah, I've seen a few unboxings and stuff. I mean, it's the same, it's pretty cool looking black and gold box. It has like I think it had like the temperature of the moon, like negative 23 degrees or something like that was on the side of the box, so I guess that's the temperature of the moon, on the side of the box and all. It does. The one thing I will say that is, I guess, cool, obviously, if it's actually accurate, is I think it comes with a certificate that signifies that it was made during a full moon. And, so it comes with its own certificate that you keep in the box, which is, again, something kind of different that you don't see on all the other, I guess, the older moon swatches. But, I mean, definitely is gimmicky to me, the big thing to me, and I know a lot of people have talked about, and I'm sure you feel the same way, is you wish it kind of diversified a little bit more. Like everything, every month, there's something. It's the second hand that's new. The rest looks the same. So I'm almost like, God, I wish they would like make the sub dials or something. Be red for the strawberry or whatever it is. They just literally change that second hand and that's it. But again, for the price point, what do you expect? But
yeah. So for listener context, I mean, we just had the 4th of July in America. We've been very busy. David has been traveling, just bought a house. I've been traveling all over the place and finally settling down. So admittedly, was not able to find every little bit of information on this in the time that we had to get episodes out. But to your point, yes, these minimal changes and these sort of minimal like iterations to these watches, exactly what we said almost verbatim on the Omega episode. If you haven't listened to that, I believe that was our 9th episode on Omega just as a brand, and we talked at for at least a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes, about the MoonSwatch. And we said that, we thought, I think we both agreed that from like a marketing and a business perspective, it was smart for them to do. And I still believe that. But at some point, I think that marketing savviness was going to hit a tipping point where it became gimmicky from the industry that they're actually playing in, which is like the luxury watch industry.
Oh yeah.
A Swatch, if you want to argue that Swatch and Omega should be split and they shouldn't be considered together, i.e. meaning that Omega play in a luxury category where Swatch doesn't, I could say if you want to do that, then go for it. But I mean, it's stamped right there on the dial.
Their luxury watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's stamped on the dial that they're collaborating together. So there has been some kind of a crossover, and it feels very like hype beast ish at this point, where it's every month there's something new. You can only get them in stores, which is in part annoying because I actually would really like one of these, like one of the more traditional looking ones I would really like, but so it makes it a little bit annoying from like a collector perspective. But I think more annoying than that is just that it's like it just seems like a game almost, where you have to imagine that these watches don't cost much to make. If they're selling them for $260 retail,
I make $20 to make.
Yeah, I mean, you have to guess that they cost somewhere between $10 and $40, maybe $50 at best. So they're cheap watches that they're making, and they're just rolling out, just generating hype. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not, like long term. What we talked about was that it could be good, and I think I brought this up, that I think it introduces the world of watch collecting to a category and to an age group and a category of people that otherwise might never consider like owning like an automatic watch or mechanical watches. I think that's cool, but it seems like Omega and Swatch are at least abusing it a little bit with this sort of very gimmicky feel, like only changing the second hand, putting strawberries on the second hand. So I mean, I wish I knew more about all of the individual releases and all that good stuff. Like I said, it's just been an incredibly busy summer, but I don't know, just a monthly release when you're doing something so minimal. I mean, imagine if Tudor, like one of our favorite brands, imagine if Grand Seiko released 6 versions of the Snowflake in 6 consecutive months, and they changed the color of one hand one month, and then the color of the spring drive indicator the next month, and then just these little tiny things. It's like, so what's the end game? You get 12 months down the road and you've got 12 watches that all look the same, except for one's got a 3 stamp on the second hand, the other one doesn't, but they're both gold. One's got a strawberry one. I don't know what the end game is for them.
Yeah, to me it really feels like that. What's that company? God, is slipping. Watch Gang. You ever hear about them? They're like, they send you a monthly watch.
Oh yeah, it's a subscription.
It kind of reminds me of that. I'm like, why is Omega trying to join the Watch Gang, market?
Yeah,
of you're getting $100-$200 watch and you get to wear it for a month, and then I don't know if you send it back or what. But
at the same time, they've got George Clooney and everyone else in Mykonos revealing 75th anniversary watch. It's like
it's just different. It's weird.
Just such a contrasting.
It seems like
methodology.
It seems like a different section of that company. That building, that's the 5th floor, and the rest of the companies, I don't know what the hell they're doing. But,
you got the executives are in Greek islands.
Yeah,
you got all the first floor interns out there working with $20 watches,
sending them out competing with Watch Gang, trying to take them down, or it's just kind of different. That's when I heard about this. That's what it really reminded me of. It was the Watch Gang. I was like, it's like a subscription monthly basis. You get to wear this one, and I guess somebody. I mean, I wouldn't say I would ever be against it if I owned them all and I wanted to do that. I don't know why you would, because I'm sure that gets pricey. But if you own like the full year, all 12 of them, and you keep them in a case, maybe there's all 12 months. But still, I don't know how much you pay for each one. I don't know if they're $250 a pop or what they are. But $250 times 12 is going to add up, and I'd rather just have one nice watch. But some people like the collections, and they might be addicted to collecting swatches. But.
Yeah, that's I'm interested to see. Like in America, I'm gonna guess after taxes, you're paying $290 times 12. It's $3,400, nearly $3,900, or sorry, $3,500 nearly.
Yeah.
You can get a really awesome watch for 3,500. And to your point, yes, I think the idea of collecting all 12, like if they were to come out and say, hey, we have this collaboration with Swatch, it's gonna be called the MoonSwatch. We're gonna release 12 of them, one every month for the next year, and then that was it. Yeah, that'd be really awesome if you had all 12. I mean, think of 20 years down the road, 10 years down the road, that's a cool story. That's why I was kind of asking the question. It's like, what is their end game with it? And kind of similar to like how I brought up Grand Seiko earlier. If you like, there comes a certain point where limited edition, you shoot yourself in the foot with that. If you make so many of them, then
Yeah.
maybe
You
they're
have
all
nothing cool
limited.
that people can keep getting. You
Yeah,
only,
and it's just like,
and you don't benefit from it, like you said, because you only make 100, and then they all go sell aftermarket, and you're not getting any of that cut. So why
so
not keep making the watch and keep getting the money?
well, I think the hype around the brand is certainly more valuable than whatever these $200 watches are going to sell for aftermarket. I don't know. I just would have thought that the bubble would have popped by now, because it's been long enough. I just would have thought that the whole idea of these are one of a kind and they're specific to a different mission or a different planet or some sort of astrological thing. They've all got their sort of attachment to it. Oh, that was cool. And now it's just like we're just getting re-releases of these tiny, tiny little iterations. So again, I just would be very curious to know what the end game is, because to me, I sit back and I can look at it and say, well, there's been like 20 of them released now. Like, how valuable are they really? Or like, what does it say if someone does have one? There's 20 of them that are available. Like I don't know.
Interesting. We'll see. I mean, maybe they're making a killing off of them because you're you're making them for $5 and you're selling them for 300 and you're selling thousands and that we don't know about. Whatever, It's just interesting. It's weird that they're in that brand, but I guess again, you just justify it by saying you're trying to stretch to a different audience, a younger audience, and not as wealthy audience that now you can get something from them. And I know the old sell saying is I can spend a little bit of something, but I can't spend a whole lot of nothing. So they're getting a little bit of something from people that they never would before. So I guess that's what they're justifying it with. Again, it's interesting. Some of them do look cool. It's just quartz and kind of I don't like the straps, and I think I was watching a guy. I was watching a guy that put the strawberry one on like a red rubber strap, and it looked nice. And but again, maybe down the road if there was just some crazy looking cool one, I would buy one. But still, even then, I'm like I can pick $250 to spend better somewhere else.
I mean, like I said when we first started talking, I would love to have one of these, one of the more regular, not like all yellow one or something like that. I would never wear that, but like just one of the black dial ones that kind of looks like a normal Speedy. I would wear one of those somewhat frequently, I think, but I don't want to go stand in line. Like I don't know.
So you can't order them online?
No, you have to get them inside of a Swatch retail, like a brick and mortar store. So the only way to get them at retail for $260 is to go stand in line, or pay aftermarket on, I would assume, sites like Chrono 24 and all that kind of stuff. And again, that's kind of where I guess to try to piece my entire sort of monologue together, it's like that's kind of what I'm getting at is I would like to have one. I'm willing to pay $260 for one of these, but I don't want to go park it outside of a store in downtown Atlanta for I don't know how long you have to wait or how soon you have to get there. Like if it's the middle of the day, it's like I got to go to work. It's like I think that's the disconnect from like a watch collector. Whereas I can go after work or on the weekends, I can go into any store and I can look at a watch 4 or 5 times before I decide to make that investment, emotionally and financially. And this one, it's like, nope, just rush out there and get it before everyone else does so that you can look cool. It's like getting the first pair of new Jordans when those drop or the first pair of this Supreme bag when it drops. Again, it seems very hype beast to me. And that distinguishment that Omega is putting with the MoonSwatch, the way that they're separating themselves from the really, really awesome and amazing things that they do as a luxury brand is just odd to me. I don't know that it's ever been done. I don't know that one company has ever gone to such great, differences in the same category, in the same, like under the same name. It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
It's like if Rolex sold $20,000 Rolex Daytonas, and then they also sold $100 like quartz knock, like it just, I don't know that
Quartz
it's ever been
version of
done.
the Panda.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Anyways, let's talk about their nicer watches now. A little more fun.
Yeah, the Seamaster 75th. Man, would have really loved to have been in Mykonos. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
To be a brand ambassador.
If only. Yeah.
Yeah, if only.
Yeah. But which one do you want to talk about first? What's kind of caught your eye the most? What do you think of them?
I love the Seamaster 300, like not the Seamaster Professional, the S&P, but I love the new,
vintage
just kind
one.
of the regular, the vintage inspired Seamaster. I think it's really awesome. I think it's really well done. I'm trying to pull up some pictures right now. So
I think I have a picture of it on my screen. I think this watch, I mean, it hits the nail on the head with the vintage look. I know there were some people that were kind of, wanting something different, like see if they change it up a little bit, whether that's sizing or what it is. And there really wasn't any other than obviously the color of the dial and the bezel, the baby blue. I think this watch probably works the best out of all of them. If it was, if I lined them all up and said which one, just matches perfectly, looks great, it'd be between this one and the Aquaterra 41 to me. But, this beautiful vintage look is same OG model, baby blue dial, excuse me, voice crack, baby blue dial, no date, which I like. I think it looks more proportional that way and just more vintage that way. Obviously the back, as in all of these, they have the new case back with the Poseidon on the back with the Omega single. It's very cool case back. But the front of it looks great. I believe this one still has an in-house 88912 movement. But other than that, it's really just the dial and the bezel that they changed of it.
Yeah.
And but again, I still think I like the look of it. It looks very nice.
Yeah, the Aquaterra, the kind of traditional one with like the teakwood pattern, that one is really, really awesome. Not a big fan of the other Aquaterra, the other style of Aquaterra that they have that has like the circular date window. The 38.
Yeah, the 38. That was the one I kind of told you reminds me of some of the newer Grand Seikos that come out. With just kind of like a grainy looking green or something Grand Seiko will come out with. And this is both of the Aquaterras are very granular when you look at them. They're but I think in that one, the 38, it really stands out more. The circle date window, I honestly don't mind it. I think it's kind of cool just changing it up. But again, I would rather go with the 41. Just I like the line look of it all. It just looks better to me. And that bracelet or the strap, it's beautiful again.
Yeah, the 41 is pretty awesome. The Seamaster 300, I love the sandwich style. I'm a big sucker for sandwich styles. It was definitely a main reason that Panerai was always so attractive to me when I first looked into some luxury watches, and I was trying to sort of figure out like what the first big luxury watch purchase that I was going to make was. And so I think that it's been executed really well. The loom that comes through it, just the coloring on it is very, like I think that you can get away with this in winter months as well, but for like summer, it's very nice. And the S&P 300 does a good job of that too. I don't think that I've ever seen like a degradé style, dial coloring on an S&P 300 before.
No,
that one's very nice too. Yeah, but the original, or not original, but just the Seamaster 300. I hate that they're the same name. It's really confusing me over here.
Yeah,
definitely reminds me of like the Railmaster a little bit. Like some of the old vintage Railmasters and Glowmasters as well. There's some kind of little bits from those. The Poseidon case back is really awesome. I think that they nailed it on this very, very cool 75th edition release. Because they didn't do anything that's like, I think, too far out of the normal where people might not love it. But I mean, you're never going to please everybody, because like obviously there's going to be a crowd that's like, oh, it's the 75th edition, I would love to have one, but I want it to be different. I want this to be a reference that 30 years from now people are going to struggle to find, and there's going to be these little quirks like the dot over 90 on like the Speedmaster Professional, right?
Yeah.
There's like little quirks like that happen either on accident or on purpose that some collectors really, really want if it's going to be like an anniversary or a special edition piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then other people like me, I like to see something a little bit different, but it's like, don't go away from what works, you know? And I
Yeah.
think it
Oh, yeah.
works, and I think they execute it well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they all look great. Um, Again, the Aquaterra 41 is run on the 8900 caliber movement with their 60-hour power reserve. The Aquaterra 38 has a 50-hour power reserve running on their 8800 in-house movement. So, again, you're pretty much keeping with what the normal Aquaterras are. The big difference in all of these, and I know that this was another complaint for the Seamaster 300, is the bracelet and the clasp was the same as the older one. So they were hoping even that would be updated. Really, the only updates they've done is really just aesthetically, which again, I think they knocked it out of the park. But some people that maybe wanted a different movement or a different clasp on a few of them, you might not find that here.
But I would have expected that level of new to come at like a Watches and Wonders or something like that anyway. I don't. Yeah. I mean, candidly, I don't know. I mean, you and I have been doing the podcast for like 6 months now. So my level of watch coverage doesn't span like years and years and being able to pick up like trends like that. But I just would have expected, if you're looking for like completely new movement or a new bracelet that no other model in the collection has, I would have just assumed that those types of releases would be reserved for a
few months ago
event. Yeah.
It's not like it was a long time ago. It just happened.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a great point, right? It's like something new comes out in March and then you install that onto a new anniversary edition in July. Like, I think that makes a lot more sense than something new comes out in March and then again something new completely comes out in July. So yeah, I mean, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I love all of them. I think look great. I think the deep sea is really cool. Like,
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I like the ultra deep. I honestly probably like it more than the deep sea, James Cameron, whatever you want to call it. I think it's kind of outrageous. You'll see pictures of it online. The first time I saw it, I was like, what the hell is that? Have you ever seen, shifting away from Omega, have you ever seen, I saw a bunch of when I was on vacation in June, they're IWCs, and they have these huge crowns that have a guard that sticks out and protects the crown. It reminded me of like that, but even just bigger. The crown, everything stuck out. It was very ginormous, but very cool. I think the World Time, that's the one that I know it's different, but I do not see a big difference between the World Time and
like the one that already exists with that kind of blue
and
dial?
the original blue one. It looks, when I'm looking at them both, I'm like, I can tell the difference between the Aquaterras, the S&Ps, and just the Seamaster 300. But that one, I'm like, you got to kind of look for it, because I mean, you get it, the globe's in the center, so it's hard to really get that sunburst look that the rest of them have. But that would probably be the one where I'm like, unless they're the same price and you can get one, then I would just say buy the normal one, unless you just want to say you have it. And you could buy a normal one and probably say you have it.
Yeah. I was wondering, how many feet down is the Titanic? Do you know?
12,000.
Oh, cool. The ultra deep can go down that far.
Yeah. The Seamaster cannot, can it?
I just wanted to make sure.
All right, right at it.
Just wanted to see what kind of record. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I'm just, just
well, there's one less company that you can take to go to the Titanic right now. I'm pretty sure they shut down operations.
Yeah, RIP. Yep.
Yeah. But,
so a couple of other things to talk about. I can go first. If you want to share anything, you can, but certainly don't have to. I'll go ahead and go first. Bit of a new watch alert. Not a huge new watch alert and totally new, but I talked earlier and I didn't want to give anything away. I did actually part ways with my pink dial Monta Noble in favor of the Opalin silver dial Monta Noble. So out with the pink and in with the white / Opalin / silver. And I don't know, maybe that's why I was so fired up about the Oris stuff earlier, because I had just gotten rid of the pink. It wasn't like I had waited months to get rid of it or had debated for like very long. It was very much a matter, and I talked about this with Miguel a few weeks back, but it's very much just an issue of like, I can't wear it with everything, or in the
Yeah.
fall, I'm never going to wear it, but I love wearing the watch. It's very comfortable and I want to put it on, but like, how do you pull off a pink dial in the fall time or in the winter?
Mm-hmm.
So, strictly for that reason, I got rid of it. I made a little bit of money since that's a limited edition, and I went with a slightly older Noble. Um, but yeah, just to give a quick little update, because I'm sure that we've got some Monta fans out there now. The watch is lovely. I texted you a little bit last night. I said I could tell the clasp is a little bit more worn. This watch is about 2.5 years old. My Noble was only like 6 months old.
Yeah.
So there's some like little bitty bits like that. The quick adjustment system on this, it's not as smooth as on the current generation Monta bracelet, but it still is there, still exists. So I didn't lose any functionality. Just a little tiny adjustment to the wearing experience. But I gotta say, man, I love it. I've only had it on the wrist for like 18 hours, but I love it. It's like it's the opposite feeling of wearing that pink. When you wear the pink and it matches, or like any of these pastel colors, or cotton candy
Mm-hmm.
blue or anything, I get the feeling that a lot of people will put those on with a certain outfit or a certain pair of shoes or jacket or something, like, man, this looks great.
Yeah.
But in the back of their mind, they know that tomorrow they can't wear it. They got to swap it up.
Yeah.
And this is just like the complete opposite feeling of that. I'm like, this is an every single day watch.
Yeah.
And it goes with everything. I can wear it under a suit, or I can wear it to the beach, or I can wear it in a t-shirt and shorts and flip-flops like I'm wearing right now. So it's very, very cool.
Oh yeah, I like it. I mean, I love that white one. I think we talked about it, and I told you, I was like, trying to decide what to get next that would match with more. I know you love the blue, with the
Mm-hmm.
sunburst look, but I was like, man, that white. There's something about that white that, again, it's still summery if you want it to be, but it
Yes.
also can dress up. I mean, I've talked about wearing it to a wedding I'm going to next month, and I'll be in a black tux, and I'm like, that white one might look pretty nice.
It'll look
And
nice. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it's very cool. That's the one I would have gotten if I was you. Trying to change and get something that matches more. The black is nice, but I don't know. I just not maybe not for me. If I was getting something like that, I would be getting a Sky Quest, like I've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
um, but I mean, I think it's a cool watch. Obviously, it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be a little bit older. I mean, when I bought this Rolex, it's a 2006. So when I bought it a couple years ago, it was really old. So it's very
Yeah.
different than a brand new one and a feel of one when I wear a brand new one. Which I actually put one on. I was at Mayor's. I mentioned earlier in the episode, I was at Mayor's purchasing. My father was purchasing a watch, and
Okay.
there a guy came up and he was getting sized his brand new 7-day-old black Submariner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just talking to him. It was taking a while to get the warranty figured out, but for the one we got, and he was just getting it resized, and he was like, "Yeah, I got it from this boutique down in Florida. We always get our watches from." And he said, I was about to buy a June, early June one. And he texted me and said, I got a absolute brand new one dated July 1st. And he picked it
Wow.
up on July 7th or July 6th.
Wow.
So it was interesting. So I was like, yeah, that's about as new as you can get it, man.
That's
And
very cool.
so he was kind of looking through it, and the hope is real, blah blah blah. He's like, I know I trust this guy, but it's still always nerve wracking. And Mayor's was not, they can't authenticate there is what they were saying, but everything looked good
Mm.
from what we were all seeing. But yeah, no, we were in Atlanta working, and so I was there, and we ended up purchasing Brett's watch, but without the GMT function. So very similar. I'll post some pictures of it.
That's
Um,
the ivory cream dial
yep,
GMT. That's the SVGM 221 minus the GMT. I don't know the reference for
yeah.
that.
It was
Yeah.
exact same one, ivory, the brown strap. I mean, beautiful watch. I think
So classy.
$300 less. I mean, they were both there. I'm looking at them side by side, which I knew if it was me, I would have gotten the GMT. But I know he has, Explorer 2s. He's got a few GMTs. He never
Okay.
uses them. And I know he likes the simple dial, kind of like I do.
Okay.
It's where I get my love for a simple dial from. And sitting there watching, and 4,300 versus 4,600 was the price difference. I mean, it was very minimalistic on that.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to decide between the three, they're about identical. But I like the clean, just straight up look of that dial, and it's a beautiful watch. I mean, trying it on, it fits just like yours does. The strap fits just like yours.
Is it the same exact? Like, is it pretty much just the same exact watch? Because I've seen it there before, but it's not like the size is the same, all that kind of stuff.
Everything,
as well.
Yeah, 39 and a half, I believe.
It's 39 and a half, yeah.
Yeah, 39 and a half, automatic. The strap, I mean, it. My Skyflake, the under strap that comes up, on this side, or on that side, it comes up a lot for me.
It's quite long.
Yeah, it's long, much longer than yours. And I mean, we have pretty much the same wrist size. I think yours might be slightly bigger than mine, but that one, that he bought, is very short, just like yours, which he likes. And he, that's the one downfall of Grand Seiko to him, was he's like, I hate that look. Yeah. I'm so used to the other way, the American way, not the Japanese way, as they call it. And, but I think it'll grow on him, and it's a dressy watch. He has a day-date president on a leather strap, but it's a 36 millimeter, so it never gets worn. So this will finally be, a dress watch that's on a leather strap for him to wear. So I think he's very excited about it.
And that's his first Grand Seiko as well, correct?
Yeah.
And I saw you looked at the black Birch. What did you think of that? What did you think of that watch? Because I just saw it for the first time a couple weeks back, and I texted you. I was like, dude, this is like probably the nicest Grand Seiko that I've ever held. It just, it made me want to drop $9,000 or however much it cost right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very cool watch. It, again, titanium, but that was almost a watch that I was like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
It just looked, and they had it right next to a white Birch.
I was going to ask, did you do that? Because that's what I did. And that made all the difference to me, because you could see all of the striations in the dial on the black Birch when you compare it to the white. I don't know if you would notice those if you just had one or the other, but when they're side by side, you realize how much of the white Birch, how much of the texture gets lost on the light.
Oh yeah,
because when the light hits it, it actually it almost flattens the text. Yeah, exactly. It smooths out the dial. And the black one, the light does the complete opposite. The more light that you put on it, the more of that texture you can see, which is the same kind of complaint that you and I both had / have about the Skyflake and the Snowflake and that particular dial, because it's the same one, just different color.
Yeah, no, it's definitely you can tell. And again, looking at the Snowflake, Snowflake's always there. There's normally a Skyflake and Snowflake. I was very surprised about how wiped out that section was. I mean, normally Mayors and Alpharetta is packed with stuff, but I mean, the entire section where your watch was and where this watch was, kind of on that front side, there was maybe 5 watches in the whole case. So I mean, they're like, we're selling these things like hotcakes lately. I said, well, thank you, we'll take our commission check whenever that comes. I'm sure we're the one, we're the reason. But they're flying off.
Every single friend we've got to go to Mayors and look at Grand Seikos, and now we can't buy any of our own.
No, I know. It's crazy. I was and I was talking to Dad about it, because we only saw the watch he ended up getting was on there, and I was like, that's still a good looking one, but he was going in there thinking, the GMT, because he sees yours and is like, I like it, and that's the one I want. And then, of course, which is kind of funny, just because it's like, we know more than half the workers there. She's like, we just don't have any in stock, we're just selling them like crazy. And then we were just talking a few minutes later, and I just look over her shoulder, and there's one in the wall case, and I said, there it is. I said, get it out. And
that was the GMT.
And that was the GMT. So he was able to compare. And he made the comment, he was like, I wouldn't have bought this one if I hadn't seen the GMT too, because I would have, I wouldn't have known which one to get. It was perfect to compare. And
so he would have thought about going GMT had not the compare. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Because he was thinking originally doing the GMT. And so it worked out perfectly. Again, we got to see some people there that we're always there with. But it was very surprising how wiped out they were. There were not many watches there, but the black Birch was still there, the white Birch. There was a Snowflake that still looked flat until you look up close at it. Skyflake looked beautiful as always. There are a few cool. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna ask, was Chris there?
Yeah, Chris was there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
shout out to Chris.
Yep, making
Listener, fan of the show, friend of the show. Very, very, very nice guy. Very knowledgeable too.
Oh yeah, he's knows everything there is to know about Grand Seiko and really anything
He
there.
really does.
And
Yeah.
so we had a good time speaking with him there, and we just talked about everything under the moon, about some tutor news that's coming up, and different things out in the world right now. But there was definitely some good spring drives. One that I don't know the reference number, and of course, people listening probably won't know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's this new spring drive that had the same texture as like a cherry blossom, but it was completely gray. Have you noticed that? It was like completely gray on the dial, and it was a cool watch. I had never seen in person. I tried it on. I thought it was different, very
Yeah.
low tone though.
I can't keep up with Grand Seiko. I mean, there's new stuff all the time, and it's yeah, I don't know. There's new stuff all the time. I may have seen it. Doesn't pop off the top of my head right now. I did just share something, not so much for the listeners of this show right now, but I did just share something on our Instagram story a moment ago that I did find I don't believe it was a spring drive, but another recent release from Grand Seiko with kind of a blue texture pattern.
Yeah.
And that has a date window. It's a three-hander with a date window. Can't recall if it's spring drive or not, but my comment was just that, like what a really lovely daily wear GMT that is, or sorry, daily wear Grand Seiko rather, not GMT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Grand Seiko, they don't make a lot of watches that I would consider, great daily wears. Like
Yeah.
the Skyflake is too formal. The Snowflake and the White Birch, those are almost like they're too like there's nothing wrong with them. They've been refined too much, I think.
Yeah.
It's like wearing out like a Patek Philippe Calatrava every day. It's like it's too nice of a watch. Like you need that kind of sporty on a bracelet. It's a three-hander with a date, and it works, and it'll be there, and it's waterproof, and yada yada. And this was like one of the first from Grand Seiko that I've seen in a long time that that they incorporated some texture on the dial with all of that functionality, because you kind of always miss one of those with Grand Seiko. If you find everything else, it's water resistant to like 30 meters, and you don't ever want to like get your hands wet washing your hands. Or it's it's got all these complications or a huge bezel on it, or if it's a sport watch, and then the other ones, like I said, are usually a little more on the formal side. So I'm glad to see some things like that from Grand Seiko come out. But yeah, it's like it's a frenzy, man. If you want to keep up with Grand Seiko, you have to keep up, because
something new all the time. Yeah, that watch you're talking about for the listeners is actually a US special edition Grand Seiko SBGH295.
SBGH295.
Yeah, it's great. Again, texture, almost granular looking. It's supposed to represent the autumn's first frost, is what they said.
Yeah,
it's powered by a high beat 9S A5 movement.
There you go. So it's got high beat, which as a high beat owner, I can say it is knocking on the door of the spring drive with that sweep. It's not perfect, but it's not looks better than a Rolex. Looks better than an AP.
They say it's more powerful than a spring drive too, just the beat movement. This one's 36,000 beats.
36 beats per hour. I haven't experienced this yet, but I have read on Reddit that one problem with those high beats is that they tend to be a little inaccurate, which is
like
kind of
too
perplexing.
Fast?
Yeah, I don't know if it's too fast or too slow, but yeah, I've heard that. Like I haven't yet to experience that with mine, but yeah, but nonetheless interesting. Yeah, that's a very, very cool watch. I mean, I always feel like, we do 2 episodes a month, and so it's like there's one part of me that's like we're too busy like in our personal lives to dedicate a lot more effort and time into this, but there's the other part of me that's like I want to go back and cover some of the stuff that we've already done, because there's some new updates and all that kind of stuff. But maybe more episodes like this are the way to achieve that.
That's what this episode's for, talking about Omega and Oris, which we really haven't spoken about. But, that I know that episode's coming up. It probably will be covered by the end of the year, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So, it's a great watch. I know, I like these episodes, honestly. It's just good conversation-wise. I mean, kind of go back, like I said, and talk about Grand Seiko Rolex or Omega, whoever we've talked about in the past or have yet to talk about. So just more up to date, newsworthy. Going back into our mailbox, I know we had a question from a listener to me, and I just wanted to. I think me and you might have spoken about it, but I want to present it to you.
Yeah.
He asked me. He was like, "Hey man, I have a Tudor Black Bay 58, the Navy, just like the one I have." He's like, "I love it." I actually helped him, get it. I talked to him about getting what he should get. Back then his price point was $3 to $4 grand, and he's like, I really am just dying for a black dial, and so and I was like, "So what's your budget?" He was saying around 2,500 tops for a black dial watch. What do you recommend? I know what I told him. But what do you think? Do you have anything off the top of your head, or I can go ahead and just say what I could mention to him?
Yeah, I could go top of my head with a couple of fan favorites, and I think some maybe like logical choices. A fan favorite is always going to be the Monta Noble. Like we don't get paid by those guys or anything, like I promise you, but it's a very cheap watch that feels like it's maybe 1.5 to 2x what it actually cost in terms of like the build quality. So I would say the Anthracite, Monta Noble 3-hander with a date, the Spirit, the Longines Spirit Zulu Time GMT comes to mind, although that might be pushing it. I recall that the Spirit Zulu GMTs are quite a little bit more pricey than the rest of the Longines catalog. So you may find that breaks the bank a little bit. And it's also GMT. So if you're not a GMT lover, steer clear.
Yeah.
If you're not concerned about paying for automatic versus quartz, Grand Seiko make just some flat black dials.
Well, they make spring draw. No, not at that price point.
Yeah, not at that price point.
They
made so the 2K quartz. Yeah, the 2 to 3 to 4K. Well, 2 to 3K Grand Seikos are going to be quartz, but those are out there. Besides that, there's definitely a lot of brands that you could look at, right? Like you can look at Oris, you can look at Rado, Tissot is out there, Tissot Gentleman, Monta Noble. You've got Rado Captain Cook, Divers, Spirit Zulu GMT for Traveler. That's just top of my head. What anything that you've thought of?
Obviously the first thing I thought of was was Monta Ocean King, the new one. I think that's a little bit out of his price point, but the one, no, actually that's right around 2,000, I believe.
It's 20. I think I recalled a Hodinkee article that said 22 and change for the pre-order, and then the full-time retail is going to be $24.95, I think. So after the pre-order, you're going to be $2,500 pre-tax. So you're going to be around $2,800 after tax. But if you pre-order, you'll save $200-$300.
Okay, yeah. So there was that one. Obviously the SkyQuest, the GMT, same thing, around 24-25. What really I thought would be a good for him, because the 39 millimeter of the Black Bay was really what he wanted. He has a small wrist, and they have I believe it's a 39 millimeter Oris Aquas. Which was right around 2,100, and I sent him that one as well. That was kind of my thoughts. Those are probably your best bang for your bucks. If I had to pick between any of those, it'd really be between the Ocean King or the Aquas. To me, Ocean King again, to me looks, the bezel and all very similar to a sub, with the Radget, or a Pelagos with the rigid bezel and all. But so if you want one of those in future, maybe not go with the Aquas. But to me, I think the most bang for your buck is going to be the Oris Aquas or the Ocean King if you want to spend a little bit more money.
Just kind of looking for kind of taking this like dive watch specific, or just kind of open to anything?
I just thought dive watch specific because I know he has the dive watch now. Obviously I also did mention the Monta Noble, Longines. I guess, you could do any of those Longines, Hydro Conquest, things like that. Yeah, if you wanted to do a dive. I think, those were kind of what came to my mind, because I know, he loves his Black Bay 58, and he was talking about doing another Tudor, and whether that's the what do you call it, the Ranger, I believe.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking the exact same thing.
But I told him, I was like,
could be cool.
I was like, man, if you want to stick with it, stick with Tudor. I was like, I would get a different brand though, just to have a different vast array of. I wouldn't have two of the same brand.
Or, I mean, throw a curveball at you. If you've got 2K to spend, you could always look at pre-owned.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. You could go, brand new, or used, but brand new Monta Noble anthracite dial. Big fans of that watch, clearly. And if you go pre-owned, you could go a pre-owned, like a Tissot PRX or something like that. You could get a pretty cool 2-watch bang for,
Yeah.
I would say probably you could get out for less than 2,500. I don't know what the firm budget is or like what the hard cap
Yeah.
is on that.
Yeah.
But if you look at pre-owned, you'll start to open up some other doors, and you could come out with a nice little 3-watch collection, like a blue diver, a black PRX. You might have to go quartz, but pre-owned automatic on the PRX, I think you could probably get one of those for 350, 450, 100, or 350 to 450. And then, yeah, like a brand new Monta would set you back like 18, 1900. So you got some options there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Anyways, yeah, to keep the questions coming, guys. Always, as always, our DMs are open for any questions like this. We love it. We'll shoot it back and forth text, and we might even bring it up on an episode. So don't ever be shy, and let us know if you have any more questions, or you have a challenge for us. We love the challenges of pick a 2 to 3 watch collection, blah blah blah, with some constraints. So just let us know.
We do love that. Yeah. And certainly give us some feedback if you guys like more of these kind of episodes where it's not really scripted. I know we've done some kind of polls and stuff like that, but I do think that this is a really good way for us to give you some kind of casual information in a very kind of laid back setting on some new stuff, some new releases, kind of hot takes and all that good stuff. Kind of a more traditional podcast versus one that's a little bit more maybe structured on some historical takes and different things like that. So let us know if this is fun for you guys to listen to and share out. And we'll keep the content rolling. Cool, man. Well, thanks again, everyone, for jumping in and listening. Hope that you all enjoyed it. Keep a lookout for a couple of new episodes, of course, coming up in August, and hit us up on Instagram. We'll probably throw a poll out there for a brand that you all might want to have covered. Might do a guest episode, another one of these. So definitely keep a lookout. Give us a follow at Strap and Link. David, any parting bits of wisdom or any last thoughts?
Man, I am wisdomed out. The research on this. Go buy a 75th anniversary Omega, and don't buy a Swatch unless you are already a member of the watch gang.
Yes. If you have a Swatch and you want to get rid of it, let me know. Yeah. As long as it's the black dial. I don't want the yellow one. Bye.